Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of the Critical Reel podcast, where instead of taking a movie from the week, breaking it open and reviewing it, we're going to be celebrating the year of 2015. Yes, this is our 2015 in review episode. It's our last episode of the year. Usually we will have a great film episode being the last month of December, but we've said many times before, we're replacing it this month with this very special episode where we're going to be talking about 2015 as a year, not just in film, although this is a film podcast, but we're going to be dabbling in, music, TV, whatever. Just 2015 as a year. How was it for us? Did we enjoy it? Did we like it? My name is Zachary Cruztan. Welcome to this episode, and with me this week.
Good morning, afternoon, or night to everyone listening. I am Jay, Zach's brother. How are you? I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so before we get into the episode, before we start talking about stuff, just remind you guys, as usual, housekeeping. This is the moment of the podcast where housekeeping is paramount.
Yes.
You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/thecriticalreel. Please go there and like my Facebook page. You can also find me on Twitter at thecriticalreel. Also visit hookedonfilm.com.au. It's a local online film magazine / website that I write for. Still in an embryonic stage, but we have a lot of stuff for you to read, so go read our stuff. If you're listening to us on iTunes, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Please rate and review and download our episodes. Take us with you on the go. Listening to podcasts in the car, we have said before, is so good. It's very comforting, very reassuring.
Good, nice company as well. Yeah.
Jay, where can they find you in the internet space?
Yeah. All right. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DialogueSC. That's it.
Again, very short and sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, so quite exciting. This episode, because it's a very different episode to what we usually do. It's different from our reviews. It's different from our great films. This is just an episode where we get to sit down and discuss the year. Which, not a completely disappointing year in terms of films, specifically, since,
not
like I said before,
shot.
this is a film podcast.
Yeah.
It a bit similar to last year in that, not very much happened
earlier on.
Yeah, the first 3 quarters of the year, not very much happened. It's very, expected in that sense, because when the Oscar season kicks in, towards the end of the year, November, December, that's when
everyone wants their movies out,
Yeah, and that's when you get a lot of the good movies coming out, or the worthy movies, movies that, just don't force you to tear your hair out.
The summer, very exciting time.
Yeah, very exciting. The summer this year wasn't particularly great. I mean, all the blockbusters that came out in the summer, you got your Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation,
The Avengers,
Jurassic World.
Yeah.
The summer wasn't particularly strong for me. Not that I didn't like any of these movies except for one. I thought Avengers: Age of Ultron was
decent.
Yeah. It was a kind of very loud kind of follow up to the first one. Where there was just a lot more going on in that film.
And it's hard to think that there could be a lot more going on in an Avengers film. I mean, when you watch the first one, because there's so much going on there. Yeah. But they somehow managed to have more stuff going on in the second one. More stuff
going on. I mean, they just added more characters.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good as the first Avengers, and I think in the review that I wrote for it way back when, I can't remember when it was, I wasn't a fan of the action sequences, and I thought the first time I saw it, it's just the action was edited in that very quick cut, one scene broken up into 7 shots kind of style.
Yeah,
that just made it very difficult to kind of comprehend what was going on. I mean, that scene. The brilliant scene, the best scene in the movie, where they're all sitting around the table trying to lift Thor's hammer and they're just having a great time. I mean, that's how I would want to see the Avengers. I mean, just really getting to know each other and not concerned.
Very human.
Human. That was a very human scene.
That whole scene was very human. Yeah.
It was great. It's the best scene of the movie. But then it was followed up by an action scene when Ultron comes in and he's like, this is me.
And then it kicks into gear.
It kicks into gear and it breaks out into this huge action set piece, which I just thought was very difficult to follow.
Yeah.
So yeah, the summer was okay. Not particularly outstanding.
Except for one. Well, would you count it as...
what, is in good or bad?
Good.
What, Mad Max?
Yeah. Would you count that as a summer movie?
I don't know if I would count that as a summer movie. I think that came out in May.
End of May. That would be summer, wasn't it?
I think it was beginning of May, actually. Was it the ending?
It was like 15th or something, I think.
Well, see, again, it's very similar to last year in that you had one of the earlier releases, Grand Budapest Hotel, last year that was...
Spectacular.
That was spectacular and was still in the running, was still in conversation, up to... where we are now, December of last year, award season. And then it just went on to the Golden Globes and the Oscars. And it feels like Mad Max is going to be that film of this year. Quite rightly so. Again, with Grand Budapest last year, it was, quite rightly so. That movie, was just fantastic.
Yeah, and also George Miller's also in the running, so that's great.
For Best Director, yep. So yeah, it just feels like this is very similar. But looking back at it, I don't think it's as... generous with films as it was last year. I remember my list last year being 20. I had 20 films for last year or something. Well, I've got 15 for this year.
Right.
Yeah, we have 15 for this year, which is still a lot. I mean, usually it's 10. I have my worst films list is 10. My best is 15. But still, I think not as strong a year as last year. It was a great year for... espionage films. I'm calling 2015 the year of espionage because it's just loaded with spy films.
At least 5.
Yeah, well, you've got Kingsman, the Secret Service. That's one. You've got Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation.
Man from Uncle.
You had Spectre and Spy. Well, yeah, that is 5.
Yeah. And wait, there was one more. Nope, never mind. There might have been one.
Well, there's Bridge of Spies. He's not necessarily a spy. The spy is in the title. But yeah, that's still a lot of spy film for 1 year. Which do you think was the best spy film out of all those? Well, don't include Bridge of Spies. Let's go with the 5 that we mentioned. There might be one more that we're missing, but never mind. With the 5 that we mentioned, what do you think was the best? What do you?
For me, it was either Rogue Nation, Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation, or Man from Uncle. I really enjoyed The Man from Uncle.
Yeah, you really enjoyed The Man from Uncle.
So it's either one of those two. I enjoyed Spy as well. But there were some moments in Spy where I was just like, meh. But yeah, Rogue Nation and Man from Uncle. I really like those. A bit embarrassing. I haven't seen Kingsman yet.
Oh yes.
Yeah. That might be
famously.
That might be one of my favorites, but I haven't seen it yet, so I apologize for that.
What do you think of Spectre?
Spectre was good.
Not great.
Yeah, not great, but I enjoyed it, of course, as you do a James Bond film, Yeah.
2015 also very good year for the female performances. And a lot of movies. Well, a lot of the movies that have strong female performances have not come out in Australia yet. Carol, Room, Brooklyn. Movies with really
powerful. We're not even going to mention Joy.
Well,
okay, yeah,
Joy,
it's a female lead character, but...
lead character. The movie's named after the female lead. So yeah, I mean, just all round, I mean, even throughout this year, you had Furiosa, which is a wonderful character.
But then you had that shit female character in Jurassic World.
Played by Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah, we're going to talk about
we will talk about that movie, Jurassic World, a little later on.
Yes.
Let's just say that our feelings on that movie are not subdued.
Not at all.
Yeah, they're quite out there.
Yeah.
I mean, Inside Out?
Oh, yeah.
A strong female character as well. I'm trying to think what other films with strong female characters, but there were a lot.
Yeah, I mean, not just strong, but like female leads. I mean, even Spy was a female lead.
That's true.
Yeah.
I suppose you could count that. Trainwreck.
Yes.
With what's her name?
Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer. I was going to say Amy Adams for some reason. Sisters with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. It's just a lot of strong female representation, which is good. It's good. I mean, it's what should be happening.
And oh, never mind.
What?
Nothing.
Say it.
No, I was just thinking it would be interesting in the Oscars that the award for lead female lead actress might be the most competitive for next year's Oscars, or this year's Oscars, if you can count that.
It might be. Might be. But it's unfortunate that like Charlize Theron is not being nominated for...
We don't know yet.
Well, she's not nominated in Golden Globes. It kind of feels like she's out of the running because there's so much strong competition.
I do think that she deserves it, though.
I think she does. Yeah. I think she does. I mean, Furiosa is quite a nicely written character. I mean, she's got that tenacity about her. But she also has the softer side. She's kind of rounded off quite nicely, which is nice.
Yep.
It's what you want in a lead character.
Yeah.
Well, Mad Max Fury Road, I mean, is just an outstanding movie. So it's hard to fault it. It's hard to fault it, even in characters.
We forgot Star Wars.
Oh yeah, Star Wars, The Force Awakens. There you go. There you go. Rey is the lead in Star. I mean, and she is also a spectacular character. Yeah. I mean, so many people were unhappy, and she's just Luke Skywalker all over again, and but no, I think she's a very compelling character, very intricately written.
We explained all this in our Star Wars episode, so go listen to that.
Our Star Wars episode from last week. We discussed it in nice detail. Go check it out. We talk about all that stuff. But yeah, Rey from Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Nice choice.
Another good character.
Yes. Okay. In terms of music.
Yeah.
I know you didn't listen very much to the music this year.
No.
None of the new albums. You might be familiar with... I'm looking at my list. You might be familiar with two of these albums that I'm going to talk about. For me, it hasn't been a great year in music.
Oh, I have one album in mind. Anyway, never mind.
Yeah, I know. Okay. It hasn't been a great year in music for me. I don't know. Okay, because music is very subjective.
Yes.
Very, very subjective. If you want to talk about R&B and hip-hop, I think this has been a great year. You had, what's the name of that album? The Kendrick Lamar one? Pimp a Butterfly or something?
Don't even know.
The one with King Kunta on it. That is, a critically acclaimed album. But it's just not my kind of music. So for my taste, it hasn't been that great of a year in music. We had a couple of follow-up albums from bands and, musicians that I like. They've been great albums. And I just felt last year was just a stronger contender for music, in terms of producing quality albums and music that I could actually get into. This is very subjective. I mean, like I said, if the music of this year was your thing, then this would be a strong year in music for you. It just wasn't for me. But I do have a few standout albums that I will mention. Art Angels by Grimes, which is a very... I can call it spunky album. It's a very spunky album. It's very diverse. There's a track that is in a very kind of modernized Anglo-Mandarin. There is there are soothing electropop tunes, and then there is a kind of stadium electropop thing, which is great. It's a very diverse album. It's a great album. It's a good follow-up to her Visions, which came out 3 years ago. Currents by Tame Impala.
Yep.
I think that's the album that you listened to and you enjoyed as well.
Yeah.
Again, it's a great follow-up to Lonerism, which also came out about 3 years ago. Fantastic psychedelic music. I mean, and they're from Frio. They're from here. They're from right here in Perth. And it's a proud thing to have them.
Shout out to my friend Shannon, who's a big fan of Tame Impala. His friend lives next door to the singer of Tame Impala
in Fremantle.
Yes.
I Love You Honey Bear by Father John Misty. And Father John Misty, you will know this, was the drummer from Fleet Foxes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Fleet Foxes is taking a hiatus, and the drummer went solo under the moniker Father John Misty. I Love You Honey Bear is his debut album, and it's a fantastic album. The Magic Whip by Blur, their first album in, I can't remember, 14 years?
Is that the one with the ice cream cone?
Yeah, the black album with the neon ice cream cone on it. Their first album in about 14 years, I think.
14?
Something like that. I might be wrong.
Shit.
I know... Yeah, long time.
Okay, I did not know that.
and that's why there was a lot of hype surrounding this album. And it delivered. I think it's quite a dour album. A lot of melancholy tracks, a lot of slow-moving kind of, trudging tracks, but wonderfully the music is great. And it was just great to see Blur back on form. After not that they were ever off form, to be honest, but it's just that they disappeared for so long.
Yeah.
And they came back in quite a big way. So yeah, the Magic Whip.
Why?
I really
do you know why
album.
they disappeared for so long?
I think they're just pursuing different things.
Okay.
What's his name? Damon Albarn just was with Gorillaz, and Graham Coxon was just off doing their own solo projects.
Right.
But I don't think they ever disbanded. So they're just off doing separate things, taking a break from each other, as you do.
Yeah.
And then they just came back and produced an album.
Nice.
Natalie Prass.
No idea.
Self-titled album from Natalie Prass. This is a the last track on this album is very Disney.
Disney?
Yeah, it sounds weird. It's a very indie kind of. I don't really know the genre of this album, to be honest.
It sounds like it's from a Disney movie.
It's a very relaxed. Yeah. A Disney classic movie, like Snow White or Cinderella or something.
I hear that.
The last track of the song just reminded me very much. It's very reminiscent of one of those kind of movies.
Okay.
But this is a good album all around. I really enjoyed it. And the last one is Sometimes I Sit and Think, Sometimes I Just Sit by Courtney Barnett.
Okay.
Very heavily British album. Very interesting album cover. It's just white with a drawing of a handbag on it. And then the name of the album scribbled across. But it's a very down-to-earth, a very human album. She sings a lot about human things, human experiences, very down-to-earth experiences. Depreston, a track on this album, which I think is a standout track, among many standout tracks, but Depreston is probably my favorite track. And yeah, so those are the albums that stood out for me this year. Not very many. I think if you had reached out to me last year about this time, I would have probably had more albums to talk about.
Right.
But yeah, we can look forward to next year, and hopefully the music scene will be a lot better for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
You have something to say?
No, yeah, one of the albums that I really liked was Foo Fighters album.
Of course. Of course. Yep. What's the name of the album?
Sonic Highways it's technically last year, but I don't think it came out until I think it came out this year in Australia.
Sonic Highways?
Yeah. Wait.
I have no idea. I'm not the biggest fan of Foo Fighters, so I can't tell you.
I gotta check.
All right,
I'll be back.
All right, go check it out. Go check it out. What about TV? Ooh. What about 2015 in the year of TV? No, TV in the year of 2015.
What did you say?
what about 2015 in the year of TV? I think it's been a rather good year, actually.
Yeah.
I personally, I've never been very much. Well, I was many years ago. I was very much into TV dramas. I followed, True Blood for a long time. Boardwalk Empire, 6 Feet Under. I was very into. There was a time a couple of years ago where I was more.
Oh no! Sonic Highways was last year. It was last year.
Seems like this year, doesn't it?
Does. God damn.
Well, that doesn't count. You're still stuck on one album.
All right, then the EP that they just released, does that count?
Do you like that one?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Okay, counted.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Saint Cecilia.
Okay. That's counted. I don't listen to much Foo Fighters. So.
Yeah, right.
But TV this year. I was, like I said, very very into TV, and then there was a point where I was more into TV than I was into film.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I went through that.
Yeah, and then I just realized TV just takes way too long. I mean,
it takes up all your time, all of it.
For a good TV show, one season is 10 hours. 10 hours to finish one season. Some shows have 7 seasons. That's 70 hours just to get through one show. And there's so many shows out there. I was like, I just don't have the time to sit through all this stuff. And so I went back to film. I mean, you get a full story and character arc in a film in 2 hours. Which, I mean, that's an advantage for film, for TV. You grow accustomed to the characters. Yeah. You get invested in the characters much more than you do in film. But in just
a lot more time.
Yeah, time wise, movies are just far more economical.
Like I literally watched like 7 movies in the last 2 days.
There you go. It's just so much easier. You can watch 7 seasons of a show in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then just this year, I mean, about halfway through the year, I kind of fell back into TV and started picking up a couple of new TV shows that I heard about, never seen before, and realized that TV has its props, it has its pros, it's not all bad.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love my TV.
What are some of the TV shows of 2015 that stood out for you?
All right. Well, okay, you've got House of Cards season 3.
Yep.
You've got Orange is the New Black season 3.
Oh, yep.
These are the ones that I really enjoyed.
Yep.
You've got Daredevil season 1.
Yep.
One of my favorites.
Oh, yes.
Might be my favorite, actually.
Yep.
You've got The Flash season 2. There was one other thing. Well, okay, yeah, there's Jessica Jones season 1, of course, which is also really good. Wait, oh crap. There's one that I had in mind.
Suits.
Yep, season 5. Wait, 5? Shit. Yes, season 5. Or was it 4? Anyway, that was alright. Wait. Okay, what were some of the...
well, yeah, for me it was Daredevil. I think Daredevil...
that was a standout.
Daredevil and Jessica Jones, the two of them, I think these are the two best properties that Marvel has ever brought to the screen, whether it's a big screen or small screen. Just the screen in general, I think Daredevil and Jessica Jones are far ahead of anything DC is doing on TV right now, including The Flash, and we love The Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just...
Sorry.
Daredevil, very physical show, outstanding story. I mean, the performances all around were great. Jessica Jones, it's a psychological torture zone is what Jessica Jones is. Very intense, very exciting. Again, very... Well, I wouldn't say relatable characters, but they were characters that you just felt for. You easily sympathize with.
Yeah.
And David Tennant as Kevin Kilgrave, the best on-screen comic villain since Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah,
hands down.
100% agree with that. I was completely blown away by his performance and just the whole idea of Kilgrave.
Of Kilgrave. I mean, yeah, we've said before, if you ever wanted a superpower, at first we wanted the Flash's power, because we were watching the Flash before we were watching Jessica Jones, and we were like, I want to be the Flash. You
can do so many things.
You can do so many things. You can actually save lives. You can just cut down on time. You can cut
down on petrol prices.
You can almost be in several places at once. And then we saw Jessica Jones, and we were like, no, we want to be Kilgrave.
Yeah, I have never wanted a superpower more.
We'll never have to pay for anything ever. It's such a nifty gift to have.
Yeah.
Will we use it for evil? Probably,
yeah.
Probably. How do we not use a power like that for evil?
Yes.
But I like to think that no, we would use it for good.
Mm-hmm.
But just to better ourselves, hopefully. Might not happen.
Yeah. What? Another show that completely forgot to mention.
Yep.
Game of Thrones season 5.
Game of Thrones season 5, the slowest season probably.
Yes, I wasn't too impressed with this one. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's Game of Thrones. You would enjoy it.
Yeah.
It was slow.
Yeah, it was slow. You could tell they were stretching
Yeah.
stories because George Martin not catching up with the books,
Yeah.
and it just I can see them sitting down at their conference table and just freaking out because looking at the script and not knowing where any of these stories were going to go. Probably eyeing George Martin all the time, wondering, when are you going to...
Nudging him.
Yeah,
come on,
just
dude.
nudging him like, come on, can you... So they were probably just freaking out, I would think. And it shows because they had to stretch a lot of the story and a lot of the plot. But next season is going to be very, very interesting because it's the first season that they're solely... It's just original material. Brand new stuff. In a way, it's like Star Wars The Force Awakens because we don't know where any of these characters are going to go. And they can now go anywhere.
Yep.
They can really now go anywhere.
So nobody would know what would happen. Like before, people who read the books were like, "Oh, I know what happens to them."
Exactly. Their fates are not predetermined anymore. You could just read the books and you know exactly what happened to them. Now, no one can read anything. No one's going to know anything. And that's great.
Yeah. It was slightly similar for House of Cards. Well, not that it was from a book, but the third season was kind of slow. It took a while to pick up.
Yeah,
you haven't seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen season 3.
I
have a short list of shows here that I wanted to see this year, but I haven't seen. House of Cards season 3 is one of them. When I finished it, Frank Underwood had just become president.
Spoiler for those who haven't
Crap!
seen it yet.
Crap! I just realized I wasn't even thinking of that. Damn it! Okay, I'm just going to assume that all of you have seen House of Cards.
So yeah,
if you haven't, I deeply apologize for giving away that spoiler. I wasn't thinking, and that is very, very irresponsible of me as a podcaster, I suppose.
It's all right.
If you want, I will help you erase that memory from your head.
How?
Come talk to me and we figure out a way. Right. I have a mallet waiting.
So yeah, season 3 was kind of slow. took a long time to get into gear. But I think that it was a setup for season 4 because there's a lot of shit.
So you think season 4 is gonna just punch its weight?
Because there's a lot of shit that's gonna go down in season 4.
Okay.
Because in season 3, not many of the characters had progressed much.
Yep.
They were all just kind of linear throughout the whole season. And I think once season 4 hits, it's just gonna explode. There's a lot of potential energy right now
building up.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna actually watch season 3 and get it out of the way, and hopefully not spoil it for myself. What about The Flash? What do you think of The Flash? We mentioned it a couple of times. I think we really enjoy the show.
Yeah. Season 1 last year was decent.
Yeah, it was decent.
It was all right.
It was decent.
There were a lot of things that we kind of really.
I thought the first season, especially the first half of the first season, very disjointed. It just seemed like very individual episodes. Oh, this week it's a new villain, and this week is a new villain, and next week it's another new villain, and Flash is gonna take them all down. It's only towards the second half after their mid-season break that it kind of picked up a singular storyline, and it kind of followed that all the way to the end. It got really interesting towards the end, and then season 2 has been really good, really good. Bringing in the DC multiverse. If you don't know what the DC multiverse is, that's fine. We don't really know exactly what it is either. It's just a term that we hear very often.
Bringing in another Flash.
Bringing in another Flash from another world, from another Earth, and bringing characters from that, and just mixing in a whole bunch of things and making it very interesting and expanding the cast and expanding the story, expanding the stakes.
Yes, I have thoroughly enjoyed season 2.
Season 2 of The Flash has been wonderful. I mean, Mark Hamill reprising his role as a trickster. He played the trickster in the 90s original Flash. It's just been a very fun show. Very light-hearted, very light on the drama, but enjoyable. Enjoyable, and looking forward to seeing, what other characters they're going to introduce. Because we're not that familiar with all the the minutiae of characters in the DC universe.
And it's fascinating that the DC TV shows have taken this light note, and the Marvel TV shows are these really dark and gritty things, which is the exact opposite of the cinematic universe.
Because the MCU just looks like fluffy entertainment for children, and a lot of bright colors and all that stuff, and then the looks like the DC universe. I mean, look at Man of Steel and now Batman vs Superman.
So dark.
It's as dark as night. Those movies are just you feel like you are gonna go in there and just cry. So dark. Not that that's a bad thing. Obviously, DC has always been darker inherently, just by the subject matter.
Not just the cinematic universe, like from the cartoons before.
Yeah, the cartoons and the comics.
I mean, the Spider-Man cartoon was kind of light and enjoyable. I mean, all the cartoons were enjoyable, but it was light-hearted. And then you've got the Batman animated series, which dark.
Set new standards for film noir in animated series. So DC just has the characters alone are so much darker. I mean, just Batman alone is able to beat everyone in Marvel in terms of darkness.
And then you've got the TV series, which just turns everything around.
So light. True Detective. So that's you haven't seen season 2. Season 2 came out this year. I have to say, I mean, really, all the people who are hating on season 2. They're doing it just because they're comparing it to season 1, and season 1, blew the entire TV watching world away. It is a rather fantastic season.
I recently finished season 1, and I was just astounded.
It's
my God,
it's great.
Season
2 is very, very different. I mean, you can't be blamed, you can't be faulted for going into season 2
with expectations,
because after all, it is True Detective. You are going in expecting a certain standard or a certain something.
But I think with an anthology series like True Detective and Fargo, I don't think you can or should compare.
That is also true. That is also true. When you have an anthology series, each season is just completely different. That is true. But still, under the True Detective name, you just can't be blamed for going in with certain expectations. But in many ways, I think True Detective... Okay, not in many ways. In some ways, True Detective Season 2, for me, might be better than the first season. I think it's got better character development. Not for all
which is a tall order.
Which is a tall order. Not for all the characters, not for all the main characters, for a few of them. And Colin Farrell's character, I think, nicely written. I liked Vince Vaughn. A lot of people were not happy with him. They just wanted him to go back to doing comedy, which for me is not the way to go because I don't like him in comedy. I thought he was I thought he was very, very likable in this season. I mean, not to spoil anything, but just as the season progressed, I liked him even more. Rachel McAdams had a quite a complex character. I think in terms of just writing these characters, and making them true to their morals. Because see, the whole thing is True Detective.
Yeah.
And it's all about police officers holding their morals close to their chest, being very ethical in their job. And more so, well, actually not more so, only in season 2 is the only one so far where it deals with corruption, because season 1 is very supernatural, kind of occult stuff going on.
Yeah.
Season 2 is very based in a real world environment. A lot of corruption goes on. And it's just very, very entertaining to see these characters grapple with the corruption while remaining true to themselves, remaining true to the law, and handling the case at hand. And I think True Detective season 2, it took like 4 episodes to get going, but then so did season 1.
Yep.
True Detective season 2. I mean, I highly recommend it, especially if you've seen season 1 and you were turned off by the reviews of season 2 and you're like, I'm going to skip season 2.
Yeah.
Go see season 2, but just expect it to be very different. Don't expect it. It's a linear story. There are no flashbacks except for one scene in the first episode. But go watch it and have a blast. Also,
no, carry on.
Were you going to mention another show?
Yes.
All right, you go.
Narcos.
Yeah. That's one I haven't seen. Yeah.
Yeah, the new Netflix series about the infamous Pablo Escobar, the Colombian drug lord.
Yep.
I really liked that show. I enjoyed that season. It was very entertaining, very intense.
Are you looking forward to the next season? Is there going to be another season?
I think so. Yeah.
Yep.
But the thing is,
Netflix is just dominating. They're just churning. They have a conveyor belt of shows now.
Yeah. Like 5 of the shows that we've mentioned are Netflix shows. Orange is the New Black, House of Cards, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Narcos.
That is true. They are just churning stuff out, and they're producing quality shows. Yep. It's very reminiscent of the HBO of old. Even the HBO of now. Actually, I mean, HBO has never really dropped in standards. They've had a few shows that have been more misses than hits.
Yeah.
But yeah, Netflix. Can't say the same for Netflix movies though. I mean, The Ridiculous Six. Have you heard of The Ridiculous Six?
Heard of it. Adam
Sandler, Western, Netflix original movie. It's horrendous. I mean, I would include it on my list of the worst movies of the year, except that it's not a theatrical movie. It's a Netflix movie, so I didn't count it. It is atrocious. It is painfully bad.
Okay.
But yeah, go on about Narcos.
Yeah. I was just thinking, they're going to have to come up with something. They're going to have to create some more story for season 2, because at the end of season 1, it's very near the end of Escobar's life. I mean, in terms of, because Pablo Escobar is a real person, right? Was a real person, and I've read up a lot about his story and his life, and at the end of season 1, it's very near to the end of his story. So I'm just thinking how there cannot be more than 2 seasons, because they would have to end season 2.
Yeah, because I mean, this is not a spoiler because it's history.
Yeah.
He dies very early on in his life. And so, like you said, if he's close to death by the end of
no, he's not close to death, but
his age-wise.
No, it's just what
transpires.
Yeah, what transpires at the end of season 1 is very close to the end of
his life.
Yeah, so I'm just fascinated to find out what's going to happen in season 2.
Maybe season 2 will be like a very surreal afterlife season.
Oh God,
he's in heaven now.
Heaven? He would not be in heaven.
All right, he's kind of halfway between heaven and hell, and he's trying to sell drugs to save his soul.
He would go straight to hell.
Okay, he'll go straight to hell. He's bargaining with Satan, and he's trying to sell him drugs to bring him to heaven.
Yeah, and then he makes Satan, just addicted to cocaine. And
I can just picture like this red guy with horns and his pitchfork just like hunched over a table, snorting lines of coke. Escobar,
and he's
give me more.
And he's paying him. Yep, Escobar just raking in the cash
and
as usual.
And then after a while, he's like, "Okay, go to heaven, go." That's season 2.
Why would he send him to heaven though? Because he would want Escobar right by his side.
Man, Escobar is trying to save his soul.
As a constant supply of coke.
I don't know. I only wrote the first 3 episodes of season 2. Right. When I write more, I'll explain everything.
Okay.
But yeah, I foresee that's going to be season 2 of Narcos.
All right.
It's going to get
season 3. Because season 2 would be the rest of his life, and then season 3 would be the afterlife.
He dies in season 2, and then season 3 just takes off into the afterlife. Yeah. And I can see that easily getting 97 on Metacritic.
Yep.
99% on Rotten Tomatoes, if not 100. It sounds like a winner idea.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Now that I haven't even seen the first season, but I'm going to jump straight to the third season because I want to see the devil snorting some coke, getting his nose all white.
Ironic. White being an angelic color.
Okay, well, there were a few shows this year that I really wanted to see that I didn't get a chance to see because I just didn't. Mr. Robot. Supposed to be wonderful. I just didn't see it. Just didn't see this show. It's on my list. I'll probably see it sometime next year, I suppose.
Fargo season 2 as well.
Fargo season 2. We haven't finished season 1. That doesn't really count because we haven't finished season 1 yet. So.
But it is also an anthology series, so.
Yeah, but you would like to finish the first season before you get the second one.
Because I've heard really good things about season 2.
A couple of miniseries. One we started but have not finished, and another one I have not started at all. Show Me a Hero with Oscar Isaac, 6-part miniseries. Have not seen it.
That's HBO as well, right?
That's HBO. That's been on my list. I have not seen that one. And the other one is The Jinx, we started. I'm very keen to finish that one.
Yep. Because it's also a 6-part series.
Yep, and apparently some really serendipitous stuff happens towards the end of the season. Because it's a documentary, and documentaries are not planned, and apparently, like I said, very serendipitous things happen.
There was this... Oh, sorry, you going to say something?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's this new Netflix documentary series also about a murderer called Making a Murderer or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard about that one.
Yeah, I'm want to check that out.
Next year, there's going to be a new HBO drama as well called Vinyl. First episode directed by Martin Scorsese.
What's that about?
It's about a record producer, hence the name Vinyl, and that's all I know about it.
Okay.
So I'm quite interested to see that one.
HBO, man. HBO.
Finally, do you have any other shows that you want to talk about? I mentioned very briefly Gotham. Gotham Season 2 was out this year. Big step up from Season 1. Season 1 was almost unbearable for me. Season 2 has stepped up its game because it's picked a solid storyline and has followed it, whereas Season 1 was like Season 1 of Flash, where it was just individual episodes without really anything tying them together. Season 2 of Gotham, much better than the first season. Still not great. I'll rank it just below The Flash. And then both of those shows are just way below Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Yeah. But yeah, the Gotham Season 2, it's now just like Flash and Supergirl. It's in their mid-season break. And so when it comes back, I'm going to be excited because I know Mr. Freeze is coming. And so is Hugo Strange. Nice. So it's going to be interesting times for Gotham in the next year. All right, any other shows?
Yeah, okay, we just gotta talk a little bit about Supergirl.
Yeah, I was gonna come to that.
Yeah.
Supergirl, which is a new DC show, different channel from Arrow and The Flash, but is projected to cross over one day. They're on different networks, so it's not gonna happen anytime soon. But Supergirl, there really is only one thing to say about Supergirl. I think it's probably one of the worst TV shows I've ever seen in a very long time.
Yes. That is astute.
That Supergirl has any fans to speak of really boggles my mind. Yeah. Because even if you're a fan of Supergirl and you're a fan of comic books, you have to be able to see that this is a badly written show. The character of Cat, whatever her name is, Cat Grant. Is her name Cat Grant? I don't know what her name is. Played by Calista Flockhart. I mean, you just want to punch her face every time she walks on.
Apparently, she is like that in the comics.
Well,
as well, but
that's not matter.
She's still a bad character. Just then
the way she stands and the way she talks, and it's just there's no human being alive who talks like that.
It's so bad.
I mean the insipid love triangle. I've not seen a love triangle this horrible since Twilight or since the Hunger Games. It's just like enough with the love triangles, man. I mean, Supergirl loves her, and then Jimmy Olsen is black, and he's. And not that I've got anything against black people.
No, yeah, him being black is fine.
Yeah, but it's just why is he so big and beefy,
like suave?
And suave.
Jimmy Olsen's not suave.
Yeah, he's like this bumbling coward guy who always needs the help of Superman. I mean, unless this is taking place way after all that, because in this story, Jimmy Olsen has moved from Metropolis to whatever the city, National City.
Yeah.
So his stint with Superman is over, so maybe he's plucked up more courage. It's just such a bad show. The action scenes, it's just downright hilarious.
Yeah, the fighting and all the wire flying.
Their wire work is laughably bad. It is so bad. I mean, there are absolutely no excuses for the fighting scenes whatsoever.
Yeah. The entire show has no redeeming qualities at all.
Yeah, it actually has none.
None.
It has no redeeming qualities. I really do not understand how people like the show. I'm not trying, to be condescending, but really, how can you like the show? It is just so objectively horrible.
Yep, it's bad. It's
and yet we watch it every week because we started it, and I just feel like I will just want to finish it and just maybe see where these characters go. But yeah, stay away from Supergirl unless you just want to have a good laugh. If you want to have a good laugh, go watch Supergirl because we've laughed our heads off many times,
and not in a good way because it's not a funny show. Well, it's supposed to be funny, but we laugh at it for all the bad reasons.
The fight scenes alone are going to have you,
in rolls.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it for TV.
That's it for TV 2015.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of documentaries that I want to mention. And I'm not lumping the documentaries in with the movies because it's a very different thing. It's like apples and oranges. Citizen 4. Very intense, gripping documentary.
Documentary.
It's a very immediate documentary because as you watch it, you actually you start to realize that what they're capturing on film is they're not reenactments. It's not historical drama that has been acted out for the camera. A lot of the stuff, a lot of the revelations, and a lot of the situations that you see in Citizen 4 happened at that point in time.
I think all of them, right? Everything was real
time.
Yeah,
exactly. There's something very immediate about that. If you don't know what Citizen 4 is, it's basically the story about Edward Snowden, the very famous or infamous story about Edward Snowden releasing a lot of
NSA
secrets. And he's in hiding now. The government is still after him. Very, 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 very gripping documentary. And I gave it 5 stars when I reviewed it.
I would.
Gaby Baby, which is an Australian documentary. And this was also a very good documentary. I mean, this has been a year. It's an age now where a lot of activism is happening. For same sex. Did I say same sex? Women's rights,
like things like Suffragette and stuff.
Yeah, movies like Suffragette, and also, just more color representation in awards and all that stuff. So it's just an age now with a lot of moving forward. And Gaby Baby is a good one because it's a documentary about several families, several same-sex families, and how the children of these families, whether they're adopted or natural, because there, I think, are 4 lesbian couples and 1 gay couple. And it's just how the children deal with the situation of having same-sex parents, because I can't imagine it being very similar to having heterosexual parents.
Yeah.
A very touching, very moving, very funny documentary. And I think it's very vital in this day and age. Also, Kurt Cobain, Montage of Heck.
You've seen it?
I've seen it.
Oh.
Very disturbing documentary. Very disjointed. But then again, I suppose that was his life. That was Kurt Cobain's life. It's just a very disturbing documentary because Kurt Cobain in this documentary just seems off. Very off. There were a lot of scenes with him and what's-her-face, Courtney Love, raising their child. And you could just see that he's just wasn't a capable dad, I suppose. Neither was Courtney Love a capable mom. I mean, they were still doing drugs with the kids. It's just very, very, very disturbing documentary, but worth a watch. And finally, The Wolfpack. The Wolfpack, this is the one I talked to you about. Chronicling the life of this family of, I think, 7 kids, 7 sons, and 1 daughter, and the whole premise of this documentary is that this family, they were cooped up in their New York apartment for their whole lives. They've hardly ever set foot out of the apartment because their dad has said that American society is evil and it's corrupt and stay in here and we'll homeschool you guys. And everything they know about the world they know from movies. They've got a massive movie collection. They watch Tarantino and the Dark Knight trilogy and all that stuff. They even watch some older movies and they reenact them in their spare time to entertain themselves. Very, very. In a way, it's weird. I mean, because we're so used to not living their life. But fascinating to see this family. I've not seen Amy. Neither of you. Apparently, that's also one of the standout documentaries of the year about Amy Winehouse. That's on my list. It's on my list.
A very long list.
Shall we finally move into the world of film?
Yes.
Very, very quickly. Because I think film, like I said, this is a podcast all about film. We've discussed TV, we've discussed music, documentaries. It's time to jump into film.
Yeah.
I think, like we mentioned, number of good standout movies this year, but also a real big mess of clunkers this year.
Yeah.
Movies that just failed to hit the mark for whatever reason, whether they were just disappointing movies, movies that set out to be bad, or movies that set out to be good, but just didn't work or missed the mark. You have a short list for this one.
I have like 3.
You have like 3 films, so I'll just go ahead. I'll just mention a list because I've made a list of what I thought were the worst films. I've got I've got 5 dishonorable mentions. In no particular order. They're in alphabetical order.
Okay.
I thought Fantastic Four was bad.
Yeah.
Not as bad as everyone said. This is a dishonorable mention. It didn't make my final list. Very rushed. But I enjoyed the first act. I thought, the building up of the characters was decent. You kind of felt the camaraderie between the Fantastic Four. But then, the final act, the climax was just flat and dead. Really dead. Pixels, also bad. I think any movie with Adam Sandler now is bad.
Yeah.
But why Pixels didn't make my final list? Because it's just one of those films. It's a guilty pleasure. It's one of those films you can put on and just watch. Because you know what? It's reminiscent of old school video games. Selfless. Now, Selfless is a movie I didn't even finish. And that's why I didn't think it would be fair to put it on my list. So I'm just going to mention it here. Ryan Reynolds playing a guy who was another guy. It's just a weird...
What?
Yeah, it's just a weird thing. It's like this whole, body switching thing. And Ben Kingsley's in this movie. His character is dying and he wants to transfer his consciousness to a younger body to live on forever, and it goes into Ryan Reynolds, but then Ryan Reynolds discovers that his body actually was someone else, and it starts this whole chain of events, and it's just super boring. And it was directed by Tarsum Singh, who is an Indian director who is such a great visionary director. I've seen a couple of his older movies. They were great movies. This movie is just a generic bland sci-fi thriller, and it just sucked. Didn't finish it. Survivor with Pierce Brosnan and Mila Jovovich. This is one of those movies that didn't get a wide release, but I just happened to see it on home video. Not wonderful. And then Terminator Genesis, which is I haven't seen Terminator Salvation, but this is definitely the worst Terminator film. Completely screws up the timeline to the point where you just have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I haven't seen
not great
Fantastic Four or Terminator Genesis purely because of word of mouth. Like, people just have been saying how bad they are, and I know I should have watched them as a film student, but I just haven't watched them yet.
No, you shouldn't have watched them as a film student.
Right. No,
you're supposed to be. Yeah, well, I know.
Yeah, you can learn a lot from bad films.
Yeah, that's true.
You can learn almost just
more,
as much as you can,
maybe more,
from good films. Yeah.
Terminator Genesis. No idea what they were thinking with that film. Like a lot of people have said, it's just them. It's just them wanting to churn out movie after movie just because they have the rights, and just because, why let the rights to this movie sit on our shelves when we can just make a movie and earn some money from it? And they don't really care if the movie's any good. But rumors are flying around that the rights go back to James Cameron, and one can only hope that they do.
Yeah. Or just stop. Just end it.
Yeah, or just stop. I mean, it's 5 movies of the same goddamn characters. The T-800, Sarah Connor, and John Connor.
Yeah.
And Kyle Reese. These are the only characters we've gotten for 5 movies. How many movies can you write about the same characters? How many different ways can you tell their stories?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can argue, James Bond has 24 movies and Mission Impossible has 5 movies.
But there are only a handful of characters that are
the
recurring.
Same. And and a lot of times they change. Yeah. Many times they change. I mean, even the villains change.
Even friggin' James Bond changes. So
the Terminator franchise, I mean, they even brought back the T-1000 in South Korean form. I mean, they just ran out of ideas with this film, and it shows. So my list of the 10 worst films of 2015. These are in order from 10 to 1. Number 10 is San Andreas, with The Rock. Just a CGI mess. Yeah, I mean, we've seen enough CGI disaster movies. We don't need another one. Yeah. Nothing to like about this movie, not even The Rock. I don't buy into the worldwide opinion that The Rock makes every movie better. I don't know why everyone loves The Rock so much. I mean, I love The Rock. Yeah. I do, but I don't think he makes every movie better. I think he's very, very typecast.
Yeah, he's made so many bad choices in terms of acting.
Yeah, and he's very, very typecast. I mean, just compare him to Dave Bautista. I mean, Dave Bautista has been in the Hollywood scene probably 10% of The Rock's time in Hollywood, and he's already in Spectre. He's in a freaking James Bond movie. When will you ever see The Rock? And he was great. Spectre. When will you ever see The Rock in a James Bond movie? I mean, Bautista's going somewhere. The Rock just kind of has just plateaued.
Yeah, he's kind of dug himself into a hole. Movies.
Yeah,
to an action hole.
Yeah, exactly. Number 9 is The Cobbler. This is another Adam Sandler movie. This is an inexplicable movie. He's a cobbler.
Yeah.
Okay. And he has this sewing machine. Oh, it's not a sewing machine. It's his cobbling machine that was handed down to him by his granddad or his great-granddad. And any customer's shoe that he fixes with this machine, when he puts on the shoes, he becomes the owner.
What?
Yeah. So let's say I'm the cobbler. You give me your shoes for repair. I repair your shoes with that machine. If I put your shoes on after repairing it with that machine, I become you. The shoes, make you the man.
Okay.
And then, wait, it gets better. Oh, after that, it becomes a murder mystery. He accidentally murders someone in the guise of someone else, and then it's this whole thing about, I didn't actually kill him, and yeah. So that's The Cobbler at number 9. At number 8 is Pitch Perfect 2. I wasn't a big fan of the first Pitch Perfect, but I thought it was alright. This movie is just downright horrendous. I mean, yeah, it's led by a female director and an all-female cast, so it's great for women in film. But John Michael Higgins in this movie, he's one of the commentators. He's just this misogynistic, sexist prick. He obviously he thinks he's funny. I mean, whoever wrote this probably thought it was funny, but he's just not funny. He's just irritating. Rebel Wilson just pisses me off.
Not just in that movie, anyway.
Yeah, I don't like Rebel Wilson at all.
I do not think she is funny in the slightest.
And I'm just very amused by the fact that this a cappella group, they don't spend, in neither of these two movies, do they spend a single scene in a classroom. And they're in a college a cappella group. So
are they in college?
They're in college.
God.
And there's not a single scene that takes place in a classroom. So this is a great college where, extracurricular activities just run rampant. And what's even better in this one, they get cut out from the college. The college just cuts off their team because they blundered the performance, and they're like, okay, we're going to disband you guys. But they stayed together. And they managed to go on this global tour. I don't know where they got the money from. They were not funded by the college, so whatever.
Moving on.
Number 7 is Hitman Agent 47. Admittedly, I only saw this movie because it was filmed in Singapore, and I was very interested to see Singapore in a big budget Hollywood film. But the film itself sucks. Number 6 is Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2. First one was bad. This one was worse. He's also misogynistic in this movie. Horrible character. Kevin James, I've seen enough of him rolling around on the floor and, falling over and bouncing like a ball. Number 5 is Vacation. This was just
That's on my list.
This is just... You saw it?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, that's right. This is just a typical American comedy with a whole bunch of poop jokes and pee jokes and vomit jokes and penis jokes and vagina jokes and ass jokes, and Americans think it's very funny to use these words in comedy when actually it's not. It's just so stupid.
That was pretty bad.
Number 4 is Hot Pursuit, another stupid American comedy with Sofia Vergara and Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon, I mean, she just came off a wonderful performance in Wild. What is she doing in this movie? It's just so stupid. Number 3. You love this movie. It's Pan.
Oh, yes.
This hot mess of a movie. I had no idea what was going on in Pan.
That's the other one on my list.
It's just this CGI bonanza that is just a visual mess. It is so bad. No idea what was going on. I've never seen Hugh Jackman any worse in any movie. He's just so over the top. Slaves in a mystical, fantastical kingdom singing Smells Like Teen Spirit and Blitzkrieg Bop. What is going on in this movie?
That movie confused me and angered me more than anything else.
It is such a bad movie. Joe Wright. What were you doing? Number 2 is By the Sea. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie putting their marriage, I suppose, on screen for everyone to just gawk at and fall apart looking whatever. It's just so bad. This is, in my review for Hooked on Film, I said this, By the Sea is as enchanting as watching paint dry, except the paint has already dried. And all that's left to wonder is why anyone still needs to look at the wall. Because it's almost 2.5 hours of them in a French countryside with their marriage falling apart over a stupid reason, which is a twist almost. I'm not going to say what the reason is, just in case you want to know. And they peep at this young French couple who lives next door in the hotel through this peephole in the wall, like a couple of sick, perverted voyeurs watching them have sex and whatnot, wondering why they are not doing the same, wondering why they are not as in love as this French couple. It's just so bad.
Because they're too busy looking at the friggin' people.
I know! It's okay, it's this movie, if you ever get to see By the Sea, don't.
Yeah.
There are only 2 reactions to have to this movie, and the crowd I watched it with subscribe to both reactions. One is laugh when laughing is not required, because some of the moments in this movie are just downright ridiculous. 2, just walk out the door.
They did.
They did.
Right.
Yeah.
Good on them.
Yeah. And number 1
is a doozy.
Yeah, it's a doozy. We'll probably get pilloried for our number 1 choice because there are a lot of fans for this movie.
Yes.
Tons and tons of fans, but we absolutely hate this movie. Every fiber of this movie's being is just infantile and stupid.
And shocking.
I mean, it comes from a regal ancestry. It doesn't even pay lip service to the original film. It just completely spits in its face. It is disrespectful and insulting to the original film. The screenplay is... it's just so bad. It's just proof that the more people you have writing a screenplay, the worse it is. Yeah. Characters... Never seen worse characters than in this movie, except for one, the main hero, who's kind of okay.
No, not even. Every character was dumb. Like mentally stupid.
Yeah, mentally stupid. You have a couple of kids in this movie who don't need to be there.
Yep.
The villain's idea in this movie is the stupidest idea ever. If you think about the logistics of his idea, it is never ever going to work.
Yep. What was the point?
Jay, what is the name of this movie that just got under our skins?
Jurassic World.
It is Jurassic World. All I can say about this movie is that I am in so much fear now for Star Wars Episode 9 because it's being directed by Colin Trevorrow, who directed this movie.
Yeah.
This is the worst movie of the year. You know how some movies get better the more times you see it? This movie gets worse. Every time we see this movie, we pick up new things that don't make sense, that are just so stupid.
It's pretty strange. We have seen this movie multiple times.
Times.
And, I'm not even exaggerating here. Literally, every single scene has something that you can nitpick at. There's something... not nitpick.
No, I agree.
There's something you can point out that is inherently wrong with everything. Writing, acting, characters...
plot holes.
Everything.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Almost every scene, there's something to point out. I mean... Talk about bad characters. The 2 kids in this movie, what are they doing there? Why is the older brother always looking at girls? And literally that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
He just looks at girls and does absolutely nothing about it.
Yeah.
We don't even give, a damn about the girlfriend he left behind to go to this island to see dinosaurs. Why are their parents going through a divorce? How is that helping the story in any way whatsoever? What kind of intrigue is it is it adding to the movie that their parents are going through a divorce? The babysitter that they're left with, this British woman who has her spectacular death, and a lot of people love that death. I thought it was just so over the top and unnecessary. She's not even a character.
Yeah.
She's a walking mannequin. Bryce Dallas Howard, Chris Pratt, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh, Vincent D'Onofrio.
They're all just, oh my god!
Ooh.
Characters that are not characters at all.
Yeah.
The Indominus Rex is a boring dinosaur. Does not look visually interesting at all. Has a stupid name.
It's a boring dinosaur and a boring looking dinosaur.
Boring looking dinosaur has a stupid name. Has a stupid history. A stupid backstory. A stupid reason for being.
Why would you give it the ability to camouflage when it's supposed to be a, you know, when people
are supposed to see it.
Yeah, why would you give it that?
For a crowd to see. You're right.
Purely for intrigue.
It can
and
camouflage.
Suspense.
So welcome everyone. Here's our newest attraction.
You can't see it, but it's there.
You can't see it, but it's there.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's there. You know why? It can camouflage. Why? Because we've just
injected some cuttlefish shit into it.
Yeah, nothing in this movie makes sense. I mean, a lot of people, Chris Pratt is riding his motorcycle amongst a troop of velociraptors. Just think about it.
Yeah, I hate it.
When have reptiles ever been trained to the point of obedience?
Yeah.
When? You can have a gecko as a pet. It could even be affectionate. Geckos can be affectionate and they can be docile, but they are never going to do what you tell it to do.
Yeah.
You
can't domesticate them.
You can't domesticate reptiles, and definitely not to the extent that Chris Pratt does in this movie. Like I said, it spits all over the original Jurassic Park. It's such an infuriating movie. And I'm sorry to all the fans who love Jurassic World.
You are blind. I'm sorry.
No. If you love it, if you love it, you love it. That's fine. That's fine. But no, not for us.
Yeah, we love it with a passion.
All right, best movies now. We're going to move on to the best movies that we really enjoyed this year. Like I said, we've got a list of 15. Unfortunately, Jurassic World's not going to be on that list.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to start with my honorable mentions. Do you have honorable mentions?
Yeah.
All right, then we'll go to you for honorable mentions, and then we'll do my list. Or do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay, you go first? All right, tell me what your honorable mentions are. How many do you have, what are they?
I have 3 honorable mentions, and they're all espionage films.
Okay.
The first one is Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
Oh, good one.
Yep, that's honorable mention. These 3 movies I just really enjoyed, but I just didn't think they were to be on the list. The other one is Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Okay.
Yep, and Spy.
Okay, fair
3
enough.
of them that I really enjoyed, but probably not deserving to be on the list.
Okay.
So that's why they're honorable mentions.
Yep. I've got 6 honorable mentions.
6, okay.
Again, in alphabetical order.
Yeah. Mine wasn't.
Bridge of Spies. Decent Spielberg film. I thought Lincoln was much better in terms of a Spielberg movie. I thought this kind of lost its focus a little bit. I think it could have done... I know it was trying to be accurate in portraying historical events, but I think it could have done without a couple of characters.
Yeah.
That American student who was also trapped behind enemy lines.
That was unnecessary.
His character, I know he's an actual character in history, but in the context of the movie, he only serviced tension. Yeah. He was there only to make the exchange at the end more tense. So just little things like that. I thought the movie kind of lost focus a bit, trying to include too many things.
I kind of disagree that he was unnecessary. Now that I think about it,
why?
Because it gave Tom Hanks, well, what's his character's name? It gave
I can't remember.
It gave Tom Hanks a reason to be more sympathetic, almost, like, because he needed to get both of them back. You know, like he would stop at nothing to get both of them back.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll buy that. But I'll just say that it didn't work for me, I suppose.
All right.
But it's still an honorable mention. I still thought it was a good film. Coming Home, which is Zhang Yimou's latest film, Chinese film about Alzheimer's. Very similar to Still Alice from last year, but with a lot more humanity and a lot more compassion, and it was just a much better movie. Whereas Still Alice was just about Julianne Moore's performance, this was about the characters and about more than just one person. The Gift, written and directed by Joel Edgerton. Great movie, very suspenseful, very tense. Great if you have creepy neighbors.
Or neighbors.
Well, he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't really a neighbor.
If you have creepy friends
that you bullied.
Shh. That's a spoiler.
Sort of. Not really.
It kind of is. All right, it kind of is.
Okay, fine. Someone has to stop me. I'm not. Okay, I won't give anything more away. The Intern, Robert De Niro, Anne Hathaway, Nancy Meyers movie. A lot of people hate this movie because it's a Nancy Meyers movie. But no, this movie subverted a lot of my expectations. Great relationship between Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway's character. This is good human drama. I think the characters were very human, very normal, very real characters. Yeah. They were not out there. It didn't deal with any supernatural stuff like What Women Want, which was also Nancy Meyers' movie.
Which was also, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, this is Nancy Meyers' kind of film. She does What Women Want, Something's Gotta Give. Yeah. It's complicated with Alec Baldwin and I think Meryl Streep, was it? A lot of middle-aged romance stuff. If you see her movies, she's got the similar taste running through all of them. But this Intern just subverted a lot of expectations. Robert De Niro's character is a wonderful character. He's such a stand-up guy. Top 5, Chris Rock, his passion project. It's a semi-autobiographical film. He plays himself essentially in the movie, even though he's not using his name. And this was just a very good movie. I was surprised. I don't like Chris Rock, but this movie really surprised me. Very, very insightful and honest look at his life. His success and failure as a comedian, his success and failure in his personal life, very real. Okay. And finally, The Walk. The Walk with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Robert Zemeckis. This was a good movie. Thoroughly enjoyed it. This is one of those movies you have to see in 3D. Yeah. Jay. Oh, no. You did your honorable mentions.
Yes.
What is your list?
All right.
Start. Number 15.
So I'm going all of it.
Yeah, just go all of it. Okay. Just tell us all of it.
Number 15 was it's almost completely reviled by the entire world, but I thoroughly enjoyed it and I loved watching it. It's Burnt. In number 15, spot number 15, directed by John Wells. Yes. Everybody hates it. A lot of people really hate it.
Yeah, because it's just such a mechanical movie, and the food doesn't look appetizing, and the story is so predictable. Yes.
But that is the world of fine dining. It is a mechanical world.
That is true. That is very true.
Which I loved it. I enjoyed it. I really, really, really enjoyed it.
I honestly, I mean, it's very hard to say all these things without coming off as sanctimonious. But I think the people who didn't like this movie think they know what fine dining is, but don't actually know what fine dining is. Yeah. They just think fine dining is good-looking food on a plate. But I think,
how can they say that when the food in this movie was so good-looking on the plate?
I don't know. It's because I really enjoyed this movie as well. Actually,
I loved it. Yeah, because you can go listen to our episode on Burnt, which was a few weeks ago.
Yep.
We really enjoy this whole world of fine dining and cooking and all that, and like world in the professional kitchen, and Burnt.
Number 15. Yeah, kicks off your list.
Yeah. Number 14 was one of your honorable mentions. It was The Intern.
Yes. Nice choice.
As you said, directed by Nancy Meyers.
Yep.
You pretty much said everything already. Very, very real story and real characters, and it did subvert a lot of your expectations. Good. Number 14. That was number 14. Alright, number 13 was also another one of your honorable mentions, The Bridge of Spies.
Okay.
Directed by Steven Spielberg.
Okay.
Yeah, we've said all we need to say about that. Number 12 is another one of your honorable mentions.
Okay.
The Walk.
Of course.
Yes. This movie, when I first watched it, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was that good. But after watching the documentary Man on Wire, it made it a lot better.
Yeah.
Because you can also go listen to
didn't buy his performance. You
can go and listen to Zach's episode on The Walk, which I wasn't in. I didn't buy Joseph Gordon-Levitt's performance in The Walk because I felt like he was over the top, and his French accent.
No one talks like that.
Yeah, no one talks like that. But then when you watch Man on Wire and you see the actual person, he talks like that. He talks exactly like that. So after watching Man on Wire, it made The Walk so much better.
You realize that Gordon-Levitt captured his essence
very well,
very accurately. Yeah,
and watch it in 3D. We do not like 3D at all. We think 3D is a useless fad that should die out. But The Walk was very good in 3D. I mean, you can imagine, right? It's he's walking on a tightrope in between the World Trade Centers, and 3D was great. Number 11 was Creed, or is Creed. Yes.
Okay.
The 6th movie in the Rocky series.
Yeah.
Well,
7th, I think, isn't it? There's Rocky 5, and then there's Rocky Balboa, and
7th. Yeah, sorry, 7th. Yeah, the 7th film in the Rocky series, and I thought because I haven't seen. This is embarrassing. I haven't seen the first Rocky, which I know.
Okay, but you've seen Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, I've seen Rocky Balboa. The first Rocky, I've heard that in Creed there are a lot of similar tones, and it's very similar, right, in terms of story and all that, and the progression of characters and all that. But yeah, I really thought it was good.
See,
the fighting scenes were particularly.
I'm just gonna say straight up that I don't have Creed on my list.
Okay.
I just think Creed relies too heavily on the nostalgia factor. I think if you take away the name Rocky, if you take away the name Creed, it kind of resembles a very generic sports movie to me. Like The Fighter, it's just this young guy who's kind of a young punk, wants to make it big, hires a trainer who's at first reluctant, meets this girl, doesn't tell her something, the girl backs away, the trainer starts training, there are montages. I mean, if any sports movie should have a montage, it's definitely this one, because Rocky popularized the montage, so it only feels right that this movie has montage. Yeah, training montage. And it all leads up to a big fight in the end. I don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I just think it relies heavily on the nostalgia factor. The fact that you know these characters, you know who Rocky is. Everyone loves Rocky. You know who Apollo Creed was, and so you know his son, and you relate to his need to want to stand out from his dad's shadow. But yeah, it's just not on my list. Carry on with your list.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Number 10. It Follows. Yes, directed by David Robert Mitchell.
Yes.
Yeah. This was a very interesting horror movie.
Very surprising horror movie.
Yeah,
came out of nowhere.
Yeah, and it was a concept that I've never seen before. So yeah,
there are of course a lot of loopholes in the plot, and what happens if she flies across the Pacific. How long, can the ghost walk underwater? How long is it going to take to get to her? There's a lot of loopholes in the plot, but in terms of concept and execution, very, very good movie.
Yeah, very surprising movie. Number 9, Straight Outta Compton.
Good choice.
Yeah. Directed by F. Gary Gray. This movie completely blew me away. Neither of us are fans of
hip-hop,
that kind of music.
Yeah, gangster rap, gangster hip-hop,
And we've heard of NWA, and we didn't know anything about their story. Like, I honestly didn't even know the people in NWA. Yeah. Like, I knew about Dr. Dre and stuff, but I didn't know, like, other people. But yeah, Straight Outta Compton was a very... Also, well, it was a very human story, because, well, it did tell a story of humans, but the way it was told, it made you want to listen to their music. Like, you could feel the passion behind their music. You could feel their camaraderie, well, at the start, and then it just for me it felt nice to watch, and black people just have a way of talking. They're so smooth when they talk. Yeah.
Well, it's also interesting because they've come from such a corrupted neighborhood, and it's just interesting to see them go separate ways once they have money. So if you give money to this person, he's going to go somewhere. If you give money to this person, he's going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
If you give money to this person, he's going to go somewhere else. And you can see that they all went separate ways towards the end of the movie. And it's just a very interesting way to look at these characters.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. Number 8 is another one of your honorable mentions. It is The Gift. Written and directed by Joel Edgerton. Yes, number 8. This was a movie that had me on edge. It really did.
It's one of those movies. You're right.
Yeah, the awkwardness of Joel Edgerton's character, just it completely creeped me out. And
well, he did such a good job.
Oh, he did. Yeah, and just and I like how this movie starts off lighthearted with creepy undertones, because you got your Jason Bateman's character and Rebecca Hall, and they're a married couple moving into this new house, and they go to this homeware shop to buy stuff for the house, right? And then they bump into Joel Edgerton's character there, and their first conversation, it's so lighthearted and they're old high school not friends. They're old high school. They went to the same high school together, and it just starts off with this friendly banter, and then Joel Edgerton starts showing up at their house, and yeah, so it just gets progressively creepier and creepier there, and a couple of jump scares. Yeah, I just really that was a good movie. That's why it's number 8 on my list. Yes, number 7 is Sicario. Yep, directed by Denis Villeneuve and shot by the magical Roger Deakins, my favorite cinematographer.
This was a good movie.
Yeah,
many layers to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people just thought it was a straight up, CIA, FBI movie. But there are more layers to this movie than you think.
Yeah. Very
corruption.
Very intense. Corruption, yeah.
Revenge, honor.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of themes dealt with this movie.
Yeah. Benicio del Toro's performance for me was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he knocked it out of the park. There were a couple of moments where Emily Blunt's performance, I was like, where she was, throughout the film, she was this really morose character,
Can't really blame her though.
Yeah, she had reason to be.
Yeah.
But there were some moments where she was a bit more down than I thought she should have been. It sound weird.
Okay.
Yeah, but she was great.
Right.
That's why it's number 7 on the list.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, number 6, The Martian.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by Ridley Scott. The Martian, I feel, is like a combination of somewhat like a combination of Interstellar and Gravity. Like after Interstellar and Gravity came out, and then Ridley Scott was like, all right, I'm gonna take what's strong from both these movies and make my own.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he made a good one.
Yeah, he did make a really good one. We watched it in the cinema, and I don't think that this movie needs to be watched on the big screen like Interstellar or Gravity. It doesn't. For me, it doesn't have the same scale as Interstellar or Gravity, but it's a great story of the human will to survive.
Yep.
So yes, that is number 6. Number 5, The Assassin, directed by Ho Xiaoshen. Yes, what's it? Number 5. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, we did an episode on The Assassin. You can go listen to that on iTunes. Yep.
Oh yeah. Wait. Let me just go back one sec. The Gift also was on my list because of cinematography. I thought cinematography in that movie was really good.
Okay.
Yeah. As well as Sicario and The Assassin.
Noted.
Yeah. Great cinematography in all those.
Of course.
Number 4 is one of my favorites. Well, it's number 4 though. Ex Machina is number 4. Yes, directed by Alex Garland. This movie,
again, a lot of themes that it deals with. Deals of humanity.
Deals with
humanity. As a lot of these movies do, but from a robot, from an android's point of view.
Yeah.
How does an android view humanity, human life, social interaction? What does it mean to be human, or what does it mean to be sentient without a human body?
Yeah.
Very intricate work in Ex Machina.
Very. Yeah. So the whole concept, I mean, it's in no ways completely original, but the whole concept of the owner of this huge company, this Google-like company called Blue Book, he lives in this isolated house, and he owns thousands and thousands of acres of land, and he's the richest person in the world. And played by Oscar Isaac. He's the owner of this company. And when you first meet him, he's this super cool dude. He's like your friend, this down to earth guy. And then things start to happen along the way. The guy who supposedly won this lottery to go visit him in his house and spend a week with him, the character played by Donald Gleason, who was General Hux in Star Wars. He spends a week with Oscar Isaac's character, the owner of this company, and he is there to test the AI that he has created, and it just goes on from there. So that story is really good. This is another movie that the cinematography truly stood out to me. Superb cinematography. I thought it was a very beautiful film. Yes, that's my number 4 choice. Number 3, Inside Out. Pixar's first movie of the year. Second movie being The Good Dinosaur. That unfortunately didn't make the list. Yes, Inside Out. Inside Out. What can I say about Inside Out?
Nothing. Go to number 2.
Inside Out. Oh my god, this movie.
Yeah,
okay.
Concept-wise, this is quite possibly the best Pixar movie. The best movie that Pixar's ever done. Very intelligent screenplay, very intelligent character writing. The idea that we are governed not just by ourselves, but that in us we are always in conflict with each other. Mm-hmm. It is true, we have different emotions that are able to work in tandem, to make one sentient mind functional. Just different small details like the character of Bing Bong, which is an imaginary friend. The concept of losing imaginary friends, forgetting them as you grow older, is a natural occurrence.
Yeah.
One of the movie's more poignant moments. Just a sublime movie that really, really penetrates your heart. Yeah. It does.
Solid storytelling. And yeah, the whole movie just illustrates, what a person goes through during puberty, and how they came up with the way the way that puberty is illustrated in this movie. I just don't know how they came up with it. It's brilliant, absolutely genius.
And this is a movie that you want. Well, for me at least, I want a sequel to this movie. I hate sequels, especially unplanned sequels. I think not necessary, but this is a movie that I really want a sequel to, because you can really go very far with this. It can be like the Up series, it can be like Boyhood, or it can be like Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, where you drop into these characters every however many years.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
And every time you drop in, you're going to get new challenges, you're going to get new stories, because the characters, the emotions especially the emotions in this movie, sadness and joy, they're going to change as Riley gets older. When she goes through puberty, when she meets her first love, her first kiss, when she becomes an adult, when she gets a job, when she starts having a family, everything changes, and it's going to be so interesting to see how these emotions change with her. And I think this is one of those core concepts that would have started off as a brilliant idea, which can just take off and go in multiple directions, and I think it would be great.
Yeah. All right, number 1 and 2. I was conflicted deciding this one.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't want to give it a tie, although I feel like they deserve a tie as 1 and 2. Oh no, not 1 and 2, as both number 1. But I just felt like it needed to be a full list, 1, 2, 3. And I changed the order of 1 and 2 so many times, and I think I finally landed on something. All right, number 2. Number 2 is Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay.
Directed by George Miller.
For a long time, this was our movie of the year,
yes,
wasn't it?
For a very long time, until Star Wars came out. The Mad Max Fury Road we watched it in the cinema the day it came out. And the trailer of that film got us so hyped. It was
my most hyped movie of the year.
Yes.
More so than Star Wars, more so than Spectre.
Yeah.
It was my most hyped movie of the year, the movie I was looking forward to the most. And the trailer,
the trailer did its job.
Got you so ready for it.
Yeah. And then when we watched it, it completely blew us away. There's a lot of criticism on not a lot, but there's some criticism on Mad Max, saying that there's no real storyline, it's just one big chase.
One long extended chase sequence.
Mad Max isn't even a proper character in his own movie, and it's Furiosa's film and all that. But the reason why the story is so simple, where you go from point A to point B and then you go back to point A, the reason why it's that simple is because there's so much happening on the screen. There's so much happening on the screen, and if you had an intricate, complicated storyline that for some unknown reason people wanted, right? It would have been too much. It would have been too much on your mind. It would have been too much of an attack on your psyche, because there's so much action going on screen, and then if you were forced to follow this intricate storyline, if they have too many characters and too much to think about, you wouldn't be able to enjoy it. You would come out of that movie feeling completely battered and exhausted. Just having that full on onslaught. So the reason why the story is so simple is completely justified, and yes.
So do we have to say what your number one is? Because I think it's pretty obvious.
Yes, it's pretty obvious.
What is it?
It is Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Number one.
Yeah, that's my number one film.
That was our episode last week.
Yeah.
Mad Max held the mantle of best movie of the year right up till the end of the year.
Yeah. For the record, my number 1, 2, and 3 all 5 stars. I've given all of them 5 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but the Star Wars is my number 1 film of the year. You can go and listen to our episode last week and find out exactly why it's my number 1.
Yeah.
Everything we say there is reason to why it's number 1.
Okay.
And that is my list for 2015.
Okay, well,
Shall
my
we
list.
Move on to your list.
Yeah, very quickly now. Number 15 is Slow West.
Mm-hmm.
This was a sleeper western with Michael Fassbender. Very sad story. Very, very sad story. It just shows you how blind love can be. And it's got a great climactic shootout. So it's very good. Number 14 is Tomorrowland. A surprise, I think, for a lot of people, because a lot of people were like, meh, with Tomorrowland. But I thought Tomorrowland was Disney bringing sci-fi back to a very fun place. Almost to where Star Wars was in 1977. It's very light on story, but there's a strong message, and I like environmental messages. Although this one is a bit too direct, it kind of beats you over the head with the environmental message.
Right.
But it's just a very fantastic, whimsical sci-fi, which I enjoyed. Number 13 is Far From Men. This is a French movie, and it stars Viggo Mortensen as this teacher out in Africa. I can't remember the country. Don't ask me. He's a teacher. This is after a war. I saw this some time ago. I can't remember what war it was.
But it's still on your list.
But it's still on my list because I can remember feeling really good after this movie, and I reviewed it. And Far From Men, great performance from Viggo Mortensen. Very minimal cast, very minimal shooting locations and a shooting budget, but a very tight story. Number 12 is Wild. Now, this is a 2014 movie, but it had its release date in Australia. I should have said at the start of this episode, though, that all the movies that we talk about are movies that had release dates in Australia. So they might be, from last year in the US, but in Australia, they only came out in January, and so they count as a 2015 film.
Yep.
Similarly, we're not talking about The Revenant, we're not talking about The Hateful
Carol.
Eight, we're not talking about Carol, we're not talking about Spotlight, because these are all movies that premiere in Australia in January. So Wild, even though it's a 2014 film in the US, it came out in January here, and it's a great movie with Reese Witherspoon, who goes on a journey, discovers herself in the wild. Number 11, Straight Outta Compton.
Yay.
Number 10 is Sicario.
Yay.
Like I said, nicely layered. Number 9 is Macbeth.
I have not seen that.
Michael Fassbender and Marion Cotillard. If you're not a fan of Bard Speak and Shakespeare, then you're going to find this movie very difficult. When I watched it, there were a few people who walked out. I don't blame them, because it's hard to follow. I mean, if you can't follow Bard Speak, you're not going to follow this film. But the score, creepy and haunting and brilliant. The cinematography, full of colors and slow motion and tints and fog and mist and gorgeous. The acting, acting's good. I'm not going to talk about it because it's expected. Really good movie. Number 8 is The Martian.
Ooh, nice.
Number 7 is The Lobster. One of the weirdest films I've seen in all my life. The weirdest premise of any movie, of any romance film. This is a romance movie, which is not, and it's not like any other romance movie ever. But because it's so weird, it's so great. Number 6 is It Follows.
Good choice.
Horror movie. I'm not a big fan of horror movies, but this one really did it for me. Just the idea of something constantly following you in a very slow manner. There's something very unnerving.
At walking pace.
There's something very unnerving about that. Yeah. Number 5 is Selma. Again, this is a 2014 film that came out in 2015 in Australia. Powerful movie. I mean, David Oyelowo as Martin Luther King Jr. Again, everyone is raging over the fact that he didn't even get nominated for his performance.
Right.
And many think he should have won, and I think he could have easily won, because it's a very, very good performance in a movie that is so moving and so powerful and so vital in this day and age of, like I said, a lot of activism going on.
Yeah.
Number 4 is The Assassin.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, by Ho Xiao Xian. Just go and listen to our episode.
Yeah.
Number 3, like you said, your 1 and 2 choices could have been number 1. My top 3 could have been number 1.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I was this close to going a 3-way tie.
Mm-hmm.
I was so close, but I thought, I knew you were not going to do it, and I didn't want to do it. So, in my heart, it is a 3-way tie. If you want to know, I'm telling you now. My top 3 is a 3-way tie.
Fair enough.
But I decided on an order finally, through much turmoil. Number 3 is Inside Out.
Yeah.
Pixar's best movie in a long time. Number 2 is Mad Max Fury Road. Mad Max Fury Road, like I said, it was my best movie of the year for a long time.
Yeah.
And the only reason Star Wars The Force Awakens is my number 1 movie is because of how it tapped into my childhood as a Star Wars fan. That is the only reason. I was not a childhood Mad Max fan, unfortunately, but I was a childhood Star Wars fan, and this movie, The Force Awakens, just revitalized my love for this franchise.
Yep. And don't give us that crap about nostalgia is clouding your judgment.
Well,
it kind of is, but
in my review of the movie, no, it does not cloud my judgment at all. But in terms of organizing this list, yes, it does.
You have
I
to
think
factor
that's
it
fine.
in.
I had to factor it in because there was just no other way for me to rank these movies. Like I said, Star Wars, Mad Max, Inside Out, all number 1 for me. The only way I could rank it was to bring in the nostalgia factor.
Yeah, and for me, I gave them all 5 stars as well, so they're all equal.
Yeah,
but it was just
The Force Awakens. I mean, this is a movie that it's Star Wars. There is another Star Wars movie out there, and it's a great Star Wars movie. I should have been happy that it wasn't just another Phantom Menace, but it just gave me so much more than that. And this was a movie that, like I said, tapped into my childhood dreams and my childhood joys of Star Wars and brought it all back for me. And for that reason alone, it's my best movie of the year.
That's great. High five.
High five. That does it for a very lengthy recap of the year.
That was lengthy.
Very nice and lengthy. We had nice long talks. You know what? It can be lengthy. You know, this is the last episode of the year. Yeah. We're recapping the whole year.
Not just
movies. So we took our time. You know, we sat back, we relaxed, and we talked about it.
Yeah.
Decent movie in year. A decent
year for movies.
A decent year for movies.
That's what I said.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say a decent year in movies.
Oh okay.
I'm looking forward to the Oscar season with The Revenant and Hateful
Always
Eight
looking forward to Oscar season
and all those movies coming out. But still a decent year. Quite an enjoyable year. I'm surprised that I had 15 movies that made my list. I thought it was only going to be 10. And I'm looking forward to 2016. Hopefully we will get you as many reviews as we can.
Yep.
If we follow our template religiously, we should give you, 52 weeks minus 11, great, minus 12. We should give you about 40 reviews next year.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to that. We'll try, I think, and give you all reviews of all the comic book movies that come out next year. We'll try and do that. I know Deadpool is out, X-Men is out, Batman vs. Superman, Captain America Civil War, Doctor Strange,
Suicide Squad,
the whole bunch of comic book movies coming out. We'll try and get all those reviews to you in podcast episode form.
Yeah.
That is it. That is it for this episode, this week, and this year in the Critical Reel. We've only been around for a couple of months, so we're going to be around for hopefully the whole year next year. You have a nice whole year with us. Our journey through film and talking about film and discussing film, reviewing films, and enjoying films.
Yeah.
we honestly hope that you've enjoyed listening to us. Whoever out there who has been listening to us, we don't know who you are. We just hope that you have been enjoying our voices and our discussions on film.
And if you have been enjoying, let us know.
Yeah, if you have, just let us know.
Yeah, if you haven't been enjoying, also let us know.
Yeah.
Feedback is always welcome.
Feedback is always welcome.
Yes.
And I was going to say something else and I completely lost my train of thought. I can't remember what it was.
My bad.
That's fine. One more time, find me on Facebook at facebook.com/The Critical Reel and on Twitter at The Critical Reel. Also, subscribe to our iTunes channel. Please rate and review and download our episodes. Jay, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DialogueSC.
Indeed, they can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about this year in film, about anything?
We have said everything we need to say.
Indeed we have.
Or I have, at least.
Indeed we have.
Yeah.
Until next week, until next year on The Critical Reel. We'll be back to our normal episodes next week. A nice review coming up. I'm not going to say what movie it is. Not right now. But it's a movie that we mentioned in this episode. That is my hint. And I will hint again later on this week. I hope you enjoyed your Christmas. I hope you enjoyed your Boxing Day. I hope you will enjoy the new year. And until next week, we will not see you till then. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Enjoy your celebrations wherever you might be.
Yes, and thank you for listening.
Once again, do not stop watching movies. Watch movies till the day you die. My name is Aku Krustan. I am signing out this week.
And I am Zach's brother Jay, also signing off for this week.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.